The idea is that when you relax, when you can feel comfortable, that it's easier to take risks, these kind of risks. And so this is what happens in our Story Studio classrooms. We use the arts to create a low-stakes environment and help students feel comfortable telling their own stories. Every Story Studio class starts with what we call a visual thinking strategy, and we're going to I'd like to invite you guys to take just a minute, and we're going to just look at this piece of artwork together. Visual thinking strategy is a low-stakes way to get people talking and to get students looking at work and talking about it, talking about what they notice, what they see. It's a great way to begin accountable talk conversations across from peer to peer. So just a little bit about how we rolled out the program. I told you it's very laboratory based kind of a feeling, so we really started with working closely with classroom teachers and developed the curriculum by working closely with them, collaborating with them. The teaching artists go into the classrooms once a week for 90 minutes to run the lessons that we're going to go through today. And they also plan with the classroom teacher for an hour every week, and that's sort of how the curriculum got developed. Here you can see some of our results. We've done really well. English proficiency is increased. That's supposed to be the nicest slat. I don't know what happened to the T in that first stat up there, but so our students are showing significant improvement through this process, and also our teachers, because this is a two-strand program, right? We're clearly delivering direct services to our students in our classrooms, but the idea is also to provide professional development for classroom teachers so that they're building their skills in integrating the arts into their regular academic core subject area. Students are assigned peers, classmates, and the idea is just to look for something good that they do, look for successes, and we shout those out at the end of the class. A visual thinking strategy we just did together, part of Urban Arts methodology in all of our programs. We use master artists and master work for the students to experience that. That's the sort of the cornerstone, the beginning of our methodology for all of our processes. So we just did visual thinking strategy together. We're reviewing the agenda right now. It's really important for students to know what is expected, what's coming next, because if you're in a part of the lesson that you're not feeling very successful at, if you know something else different is coming up in 2 minutes, then you can re-engage then, right? So it's very important to have the agenda up so that students know what's coming. Diagnostic, just pre-reading activity. I'm going to show you some specific example of that, how we do it. Just prior knowledge, getting students to define vocabulary words, that sort of thing, pre-reading questions and conversations. There's explicit vocabulary in every Story Studio classroom. So you can see this looks a lot like a balanced literacy class, right? Then reading comprehension. We're going to do some read aloud with our master author, Sandra Cisneros, today. Post-reading questions. And then there's an art making activity in every Story Studio class. The students share what they made. Okay, so I thought it would be cool if we just kind of did like a shared read aloud. It's really short, just to kind of get through the text, because the text is going to inspire the art activity that Armando is going to lead you guys through next. It's a response to this. So would someone be so kind as to volunteer, and we'll kind of like popcorn around the room and people can take different parts. Can somebody just start off reading this first section? Bringing new tools like learning through the arts and arts integration into classrooms often puts teachers in that position where they're also learning and learning how to do it. Put visual thinking strategy and master work up. The teacher's not an expert, so they're kind of in the same place as the student, and it really creates this nice level where educator and student kind of become collaborators, and the teacher doesn't always have to be the expert. And our boss, she's fond of saying that this is the age of the end of experts. Now that there's Google, there's no more experts. Like someone that needs to know everything about one subject standing up in front of a room, you know, divulging their expertise to her. You know, she says that's old. The end of that era, you know, that's over. And so the idea that you can be a learner with your student, with the teacher is sitting next to their student and doing an art project, doing the art, making part of the activity right along with them. Those are beautiful things. We'd love to see that. It's very nurturing.
So in an effort to expand vocabulary, but to also incorporate, again, when we talk about arts integrated activities, that's exactly what we're talking about, is arts, a creative process fully integrated into another process, another experience. So the vocabulary that we're introducing here is composition, symbolism, and detail. So think about how you're composing your mini mural. Think about the symbolism that you're using and the power of symbolism in a visual form. And also think about whatever detail you want to examine, expose, or focus. So we brought this piece up again to think about composition. How is this composed? What are the main kind of shapes that you see in this space?
Where did she place the figures? So before you can get to the composition part of where you're placing the images, so how the wax transfer works. So once you've chosen some, hopefully you found some images or a couple that resonate with the themes that you pulled out, and then once you find them.
Yeah, so you actually, thank you, Greg. There's a great, you don't necessarily have to fill the entire back page with crayon. If, for example, you only want to pull the hand here, you can kind of hold it up to the light and then just fill out the hand area. You don't have to do it super, super, super dark. Really, the whole idea is enough wax on the back of the paper, so that might only just be the hand, you know, just enough wax on the back of the paper so that when you put the paper down and you use a pencil to trace it. So you would ultimately think of your composition, right? This is your piece here, this is your canvas. If you wanted the hand to be central, or if you wanted the hand to be looming over, or whatever that is, you place it down exactly where you want. And then with a pen or a pencil, what you do is that you can very quickly just trace the hand. It's kind of hard to see right here, but you have a little bit of a wax transfer. You can even put down a little bit more wax. Wax transfer onto here, and then you can fill this out with whatever. So now it's just all you're doing is coloring by lines, right? It's like a coloring book, you know? But you have the freedom and the ability to create your own composition, to create an original piece, which isn't just a coloring book that's pre-printed for you, right? So it allows for some creative process. It allows for you to create, you know, the beauty of symbolism is exactly that. You know, one symbol that stands alone has its meaning, but when put next to another symbol, creates a new meaning. You know, so that's something to think about as well. Visual storytelling.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I would just say, when you are creating your mural piece together, obviously you're creating it collectively. It can be more like a collage where all the images are just sort of floating next to each other and give meaning that way. Or you might want to do something more linear and try to tell a story of, like, create a sequence of events and retell 11 or part of 11. So the placement of it is up to you. But also, I would recommend choosing darker color wax crayons, and you really, I think you really want to put it on there pretty heavily, and don't, like, the light greens and the light yellows they're not gonna show up so well. So go with the darker colors.